Kyler Murray's on the PUP list, are going to be able to trade Kyler Murray. Oh, Nick, what would someone give up for Kyler Murray? A first-round pick.
When he's healthy to play mentally and physically, he'll play.
So after some recent developments with the Arizona Cardinals, in addition to an incredible weekend of college football, I can say with confidence that Kyler Murray's situation appears to be getting worse and worse. And it's kind of clear the direction that the Arizona Cardinals are heading in. So before we get to the content, we're doing cash giveaways on my Instagram page, @TheFlightMike, announcing 5 winners to split $500 between them. And all you have to do to enter is follow me on Instagram. Now that we get all that out of the way, this is pretty much free money. We only need to correctly pick 2 squares to 3x our money on Prize Picks.
That's impossible!
And to celebrate the NFL season kicking off, Prize Picks is giving us a free square. All Dak Prescott needs is 1 passing yard in order to fulfill his square. So you combine that with Travis Kelce, who only needs 1 receiving touchdown. This is Old Mike. Old Mike made the mistake of picking Travis Kelce to get 1 receiving touchdown in the season opener. But Travis Kelce is questionable to play versus the Detroit Lions. Thankfully, Prize Picks has reboots. What are reboots? Well, let's say you decide to pick a player who actually plays in the entire first half of the game, and then he gets injured for the entire second half. Well, Prize Picks will count him as a player that didn't play at all whatsoever, and if you made a 3-pick entry, it'll go down to a 2-pick entry, completely disqualifying him from your entry. And since Travis Kelce is out, we're gonna pair Dak Prescott, who will get 1 passing yard, with Justin Jefferson, who only needs 1 receiving touchdown, versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to convert. Make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone to double your deposit on your first entry, and to follow me on Instagram to see who I'm picking each and every day. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The Arizona Cardinals have definitely had a fall from grace, and this is a team that historically isn't known to be very patient with its franchise QBs. I mean, the favorite example we have on this channel is the fact that they selected Josh Rosen in the first round of the 2018 NFL draft, and Josh Rosen would make a historic promise that he is still trying to fulfill to this day when he said this:
absolutely the best quarterback in the draft, by far. I want to go to the team that wants me the most. I want to win Super Bowls, and I want to have the most. So I'm coming for Tom Brady's record, and I plan on getting picked pretty early.
If you thought that's cringy, we have a lot of cringe content for you guys here today. But eventually, we know what would happen. The Arizona Cardinals would move on from Josh Rosen after 1 poor season with Josh Rosen under center, and Steve Keim was so infatuated with Kyler Murray in the 2019 NFL draft that they pretty much told Josh Rosen to buzz off so they could select Kyler Murray with the #1 overall pick. Now, bear in mind, this was after Nick Bosa told Steve Keim this:
"We went to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and had dinner with Nick Bosa. I'll never forget, he puts his arm around me and Cliff Kingsbury, both of us, in basically a headlock. You guys are probably going to end up taking that little quarterback. And if you do," he looked over at me and said, "Steve, I will haunt you for the rest of your career."
But regardless, the Cardinals decided to build a team around Kyler Murray, getting a head coach for him that is on the record saying this:
Kyler is, he's a freak, man. Purdy's a really good young player, and he's going to be a tremendous player, but Kyler is a freak, and I've followed him since he was a sophomore.
And for the most part, it actually paid off for them. In year 1, they went 5-10-1 under Cliff Kingsbury. In year 2, Steve Keim made everyone forget the fact that he decided to draft a quarterback in the first round and move on from him almost instantaneously when he was able to swindle the Houston Texans for DeAndre Hopkins. The result, the Arizona Cardinals went 8-8. In year 3, the Arizona Cardinals got off to their most promising start that we've ever seen in the franchise's history, starting out 7-0 in the regular season, and eventually getting to a 10-2 record. They would go 1-5 in the remainder of their games before Kyler Murray historically had a meltdown versus the Los Angeles Rams. And this is when the wheels started to fall off the wagon. That offseason, the Arizona Cardinals started to call Kyler Murray's maturity into question. Kyler Murray's agent was making these big contractual demands. Kyler Murray was scrubbing his Instagram of everything that had to do with the Arizona Cardinals, but eventually the Cardinals relented and they were able to get a contract extension done. And the result of this was probably the last thing you'd ever want to see. The Arizona Cardinals would go into the 2022 season with a 4-13 record. The thing that stinks about this is Kyler Murray's contract extension still hadn't kicked in at this point, and Kyler Murray would also suffer an injury at the worst possible moment. In mid-December, Kyler Murray would tear his ACL, which a torn ACL is really bad, especially if you're a scrambling quarterback, but it's doubly as bad when you happen to get it towards the end of the season when your team already has a losing record. The result? The Arizona Cardinals finished the season with a 4-13 record, and they look significantly different than they did the year prior. Gone is the general manager that drafted Kyler Murray and the head coach that was infatuated with Kyler Murray. And who did the Arizona Cardinals hire in his place? Well, this guy.
Hey! What's up, man? How you doing? Good. Good. Shoo, 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 shoo. Shots. Explosives, you can run.
Jonathan Gannon made his name by being the architect behind the Philadelphia Eagles' suffocating defense last season. And to his credit, he was remarkable. I mean, Hassan Reddick was one of the top pass rushers in the entire NFL and had one of the best rebound seasons we've ever seen. Javon Hargrave was able to cash out with the San Francisco 49ers because of them. You pair this with Shane Steichen's triple option RPO offense with Jalen Hurts under center, coupled with Howie Roseman's remarkable craftsmanship in constructing a roster, and you get a Philadelphia Eagles team that made it to their second Super Bowl in 6 years. Now, unfortunately, Jonathan Gannon's defense got picked apart by one of the most brilliant offensive head coaches and his robotic cyborg of a quarterback during the Super Bowl, and Jonathan Gannon wasn't able to make very simple adjustments on 2 key plays. But regardless, Jonathan Gannon got his opportunity here. The Arizona Cardinals decided to hire him as their brand new head coach. This wasn't a coveted job. Sean Payton was on record saying that he preferred the Denver Broncos job over the Arizona Cardinals job because he didn't want to deal with Kyler Murray. But what's even more strange is just the trajectory that this team has been going in. In previous content, we've discussed that whenever a new regime comes into a failing team, they're probably going to have the existing franchise cornerstones of that team on a shorter leash, or they'll move on from them completely if they don't believe in them. I guess a recent example of this would be the Carolina Panthers when they hired Matt Rule. Matt Rule was very quick to move on from Cam Newton. Another good example was when the Buffalo Bills hired Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane brought in Sean McDermott despite having a Pro Bowl quarterback on their roster in Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor taking the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs that season. Buffalo Bills elected to move on from Tyrod Taylor and selected the most raw quarterback out of the entire NFL draft in Josh Allen. And thankfully that worked out for them. I'm not saying they made the wrong move, but historically, general managers are very quick to move on from the team's previous franchise cornerstones whenever they have the opportunity to do so, unless if they have a successful guy in place. With that being said, it didn't take Monty Austin-Ford very long to start shedding some salary. A few weeks ago, they traded their offensive tackle Josh Jones, in addition to trading their former top pick in the 2020 NFL draft, Isaiah Simmons, to the New York Giants for a 7th round pick. And this wouldn't necessarily be so bad, but they used those assets to trade for Josh Dobbs, which is a journeyman quarterback in the NFL, which they probably did because they didn't like what they saw from their late round quarterback pick, Clayton Tune. Surprisingly, the Arizona Cardinals announced, and this is according to Ian Rappaport, that they're going to start Josh Dobbs in week 1 against the Washington Commanders. Now, this is surprising considering that they just traded for Josh Dobbs, but they also said that they're going to evaluate the situation week to week. That's not necessarily something you want to hear from any organization that is trying to be competitive, but you have to admit, there's no way the Cardinals are trying to be competitive, despite what they're saying about Kyler Murray, how Kyler Murray is our future at quarterback, how Kyler Murray is the #1 overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft, and honestly, has performed fairly well. Yes, there's been moments where they really needed him to step up and be a leader, and he hasn't evolved in that regard, but I want to make it abundantly clear, Kyler Murray is not a bad quarterback by any means whatsoever. Problem is the fact that Kyler Murray is about to enter year 1 of a brand new 5-year extension that technically hasn't even started yet. If you compare Kyler Murray's situation to, I don't know, the #2 pick in the 2019 NFL draft, Nick Bosa is on his rookie contract still. Which means, yes, the Arizona Cardinals fumbled the bag horrifically by signing Kyler Murray to an extension already, because they pretty much hitched their wagon to him, but not quite. The very first thing that we need to talk about before we get into the financials is the Arizona Cardinals aren't going to come out and openly admit that they're moving on from Kyler Murray. That's just not what you do right before the season starts. I mean, listen to what Jonathan Gannon had to say about Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler, when he's healthy to play mentally and physically, he'll play. So that obviously led into part of our decision that he's getting ready to go, and when he's ready to go out there, he'll go out there.
So they want you to believe that Kyler Murray is going to return this season. He's not. I'm going to tell you straight up, he's not. He tore his ACL in December of last year. Even if he comes back in November, the Arizona Cardinals at that point would need to have won 5 games without Kyler Murray under center. For it to be worth it to rush him back from injury, it's just not worth it at that point. There's no reason to rush him back from a career-altering injury just so he could play the remainder of the season. Now, Michael Lombardi actually gave a remarkable take on the Pat McAfee show in regards to the contract situation on Kyler Murray. The Cardinals would owe Kyler Murray $37 million in 2024, $29 in 2025, $26 in 2026, and injury guarantees if he can't pass a physical before March, per Mike Florio. Florio suggests that the Cardinals might keep Murray on the PUP list throughout the 2023 season to avoid him getting hurt again, which could prevent him from passing that physical. The Raiders did something similar late last year with Derek Carr, and the Colts did the same with Matt Ryan on his initial benching. If the team thinks they'll pick high in the 2024 draft and might take a QB, this could be a move they'll make in order to move on from Kyler Murray. But here's the thing, the whole benefit of selecting a quarterback in the NFL draft that has tremendous upside, the whole reason you would want to go from Kyler Murray to Caleb Williams to begin with is the fact that Caleb Williams would be on a rookie contract, which means you could really build a great team around him and compete for Super Bowls. I mean, historically in the NFL, quarterbacks that win Super Bowls are either on a rookie scale contract or are severely underpaid relative to their position, like Patrick Mahomes was last year, like Matthew Stafford was the year before, like Tom Brady was the year before that. Now, this is what Michael Lombardi had to say about the situation.
Kyler Murray's case, he's got $56 million coming. He will not play for the rest of the year because they can't risk putting him back on the field and risking that I'm going to fully guarantee a contract that I'm not sure I want to fully guarantee.
And honestly, he's been crushing it on the Pat McAfee show with his take on the nuances of Kyler Murray's contract. He also agrees with me. There's no way that Kyler Murray will play this year.
I think he doesn't play. Just look at him walk there. Can he play to the level that we're used to seeing him play? That, to me, is a standard that's above and beyond a doctor.
And by far my favorite thing that Lombardo actually says,
you can't predispose these financial decisions, especially when you make a change in the coaching staff. Keim and the owner, Michael Bidwell, they wanted Kyler Murray. Thought Cliff would be the right head coach. That's the difference. And now Keim's not there anymore, so things have changed.
And probably the icing on the cake here is the fact that the 2024 quarterback class is insane, assuming that everybody declares for the NFL draft, which, by the way, in years past would be a no-brainer. But let's say you're Caleb Williams and you see that the Arizona Cardinals are selecting #1 overall in the NFL draft. Would you decide to handcuff yourself to the Arizona Cardinals for, at the very minimum, the first 5 years of your career, which, bear in mind, the organization that selects you plays a huge role, I'd say probably 80% or even 90% in determining how good you're going to be in the NFL. You get drafted to a terrible organization and they could screw your career up for life, and we've seen that happen. So if you're Caleb Williams, let's say that the Cardinals are selecting #1 overall. They already have Kyler Murray. You're getting yourself into a mess. Would you rather stay in Los Angeles for one more season, dominate the whatever the hell's left of the pack, whatever, and earn money through sweet NIL deals, or handcuff yourself to a team that clearly has no idea what their direction is or what they're doing, whose head coach is going viral for the wrong reasons?
Shots. Explosives, you can run.
And historically, we've seen teams do this before. During the 2005 NFL draft, Eli Manning was supposed to be the greatest NFL prospect we've ever seen since Peyton Manning. And his father, Archie, was traumatized from his career being mismanaged by the teams that he played for. And he didn't want his son to go to an organization that he thought could screw him up for life. So he said that Eli will not play for the Chargers. It was a huge controversy. And even eventually Eli got traded to the Giants. And this is why this story is so awesome, because if you look at this NFL draft, you have Caleb Williams, Drake May, Shedeur Sanders, Michael Penix Jr., Quinn Ewers, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, Riley Leonard, Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, and Jordan Travis. Out of all those players, only one of those quarterbacks came with a loss in week 1, and they all put up remarkable stats in their college football debuts, which, by the way, let us know if you want us to do some more college football content, because it seems to be really lit this year. But with that being said, if Caleb Williams sees the Arizona Cardinals with the #1 overall pick, as opposed to a team like the Los Angeles Rams or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do you think Caleb Williams would declare for the NFL draft? And that's what makes this situation so unique, because on one hand, you have, what if the Cardinals get the #1 overall pick? Do they trade Kyler Murray? Well, what if Caleb Williams doesn't declare? Do they trade that #1 pick? At the end of the day, I think both the potential #1 pick and Kyler Murray are very, very tradable assets, but I don't think the Cardinals are being very forthcoming about what their plans are with Kyler Murray. I mean, Caleb Williams' father recently said this: the funky thing about the NFL draft process is he'd almost be better off not being drafted than being drafted first. The system is completely backwards, the way the system is constructed. You go to the worst possible situation, the worst possible team, the worst organization in the league, because of their desire for parity, gets the first pick. So it's the gift and the curse. So if there's not a good situation, the truth is he can come back to school. It's not like he's given up that much money in comparison. I mean, yeah, he is, but it's not like you can't take care of your family with the money you're currently getting. And the offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals recently said this about Kyler. Kyler Murray is a franchise quarterback and the leader of the Cardinals organization, says offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. He's been unbelievable, really, since we walked in the building. Just done everything we've asked from a rehab standpoint, from a learning the offense standpoint, from an engagement in the offensive room and getting to know his teammates and things like that. I certainly view him as a franchise quarterback and a leader of this organization, and I think his teammates do too. So this is a storyline we're going to be covering a lot this year because it's truly unique, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the Arizona Cardinals do. If the Arizona Cardinals even get the #1 overall pick, if Kyler Murray may even demand a trade. I don't know. There's so many things that can happen in this case. I mean, Caleb Williams could stay at USC. Caleb Williams could declare even though the Cardinals have the #1 pick. So much stuff could happen. So make sure you're subscribed and we'll keep you tapped in as everything goes down. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.